Remember the 5th of September when the Black September initiated the plot. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of September 5th, the news film from director Tim Fehlbaum. Okay, guys, most of you out there, including myself, were not alive when this happened. September 5th is a story of the ABC news team or sports team who ended up becoming integral in the coverage of the 1972 Summer Olympics hostage situation, where Black September took over and took hostage the Israeli sports team. And this movie, in essence, follows the ABC sports team as they covered the whole entire incident. It garnered them a lot of critical acclaim. I think some of them got Pulitzer Prizes. Something happened where they became really well known because of the footage that they had, the way they covered it. And this movie is what that's about. It's about, these individuals played by Peter Sarsgaard, Joe Magaro, Ben Chaplin, and how they were able to kind of integrate themselves into what was going on in the Olympics during the Munich massacre that happened in 1972. So that's in essence what this is about. It's about ABC Sports and kind of how they played an integral part into this situation. Okay, guys, so the 1972 Munich Olympics, once again, were really famous for the incident that included the deaths of the Israeli Olympics team. It played over national news. Once again, ABC was very integral into that part of it with like Peter Jennings. But I knew about this incident. I knew it from One Day in September, which was the first time I ever heard of it through the documentary. But this is one of the most integral world history news stories of all time. It's very dealing with like the Black September, the situation that was going on at the time in the 1970s. So this incident taking place during a national event, which is the Olympics, is really well known, but you may not have known it from this point of view, and that's what makes it a really intriguing story, because ABC at the time they weren't that big, to be fairly honest. They were big enough to be at the Olympics to cover the sporting events, but they didn't really come to what they are known today until this Olympic event. And so I was really intrigued to see this movie. I wanted to know this side of the story. I wanted to know about what it took to get this incident on the air, how they had to wait, how they had to negotiate. And so it was intriguing. And it has some really good cast members in it, like Peter Sarsgaard, which I really, truly like as an actor. And so with that said, for my honest review, I enjoy this movie. I think it's interesting. I think there are parts that are really thrilling, that are really dramatic. I think John Magaro, I think Peter Sarsgaard, I think everybody's doing a nice job. But this movie is the Cliff Notes version of that. It's 90 minutes long. It moves through the incident really quickly. It is so sporadic in what it's doing that it actually gets kind of confusing as the movie moves along for an incident that is really well known and really well documented. I felt like it was losing the plot really easily. They show how they don't really go on the air to a certain time, which is before 24-hour news. They were, having to scramble to like how to get footage, how to get like live feeds. They moved one of their big cameras out into the field. There is stuff there that's interesting, but once again, this could have been like a 2.5-hour thriller, 2.5-hour movie, and I think it would have really worked. I think with its cut down the way it is, it feels like there's a lot taken out of it. For instance, when John Magaro's character comes into the mix and he's the overnight guy who's making sure footage gets there for the next day, it just moves really quickly. It goes from the point where he's just kind of working on stuff, and all of a sudden there's the gunshots you hear from the Olympic Village, and then it moves really quickly to you see the footage that's really famous with the the Black September members looking outside the window, and then it moves here, then it moves here, then it moves here, and it does like once again a Cliff Notes version of what happened in the ABC newsroom, in the ABC room, and it's really interesting to see how Peter Jennings and Jim McKay, how they operated in this like insane scenario and the misinformation that happened. So there is a really interesting stuff there, but I think One Day in September, which was the documentary that came out, did a much better job of documenting this incident than this movie does. So therefore I was kind of really disappointed by this movie. It's not a bad movie in any sorts. I think it was the mystery movie for this week of this recording, but I had seen it a couple weeks prior. But it's a movie that really feels like it could add more. It feels like it could add like a lot more, and it would have been a much more full, much more interesting experience. But instead, this is a movie show to like elementary or high schoolers to like tide them over for 90 minutes because you don't feel like teaching them about the Olympic tragedy that happened in 1972. But I think, and once again, I think my conflict is the fact that everybody's really good in this movie. There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of, when they make the mistake of thinking the Israeli hostages are alive, and then you have to apologize and realize that they're not alive anymore. It feels like it's so like all over the place. It's just so static and just so, I feel like there could be so much more added to it that just isn't added into this movie. And so therefore it's kind of a disappointment. It's like probably one of the most disappointing movies I've seen this year, just on the simple fact that it just needs more. It has potential. It's one of those movies like I can recommend as a kind of companion piece to One Day in September, but as its own, it moves too quickly. It moves too quickly through the pieces and the parts of what happened in the ABC Sports newsroom that I just feel like it needs more. It needs more. It needs another hour of content that it just doesn't get. So I think it'll play well. I think it'll be possibly an Oscar maybe contender for the a few things, but I think as a movie, I think it's something that looked like it had a lot of potential and could have really easily done that. I think the director does the best what he does with the material he's written, but I think it's really kind of a disappointment to me personally. I mean, other people like it, I'm sure, but I think it could have been much, much better. So overall, September 5th could have been better, could have been worse. Is just an okay movie. It's at this point one of the most disappointing movies I've seen this year. So take that for what it's worth. But anyways, with that said, that'll be my take on September 5th. I do appreciate you watching this review. Comments below, do you know anything about the Israeli hostage situation in the 1972 Olympics? Were you there? What did you feel? If you've seen this movie or One Day in September, tell me kind of how you feel about those things. But otherwise, if you like what you see on this video, awesome. Hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.